Representative Henderson,
Here.
Representative Larson,
Here.
Representative Sherwood,
Here.
Representative Stitt,
Here.
Representative Walters,
Here.
Representative Swanser,
Here.
Chairman Nicholas.
Here. Okay, we have three bills up, 71, 72, and 73. Let's walk down that order. First would be broadband development. House Bill 71. Are there any public comments? Any public comments on 71?
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Catherine Wilkinson on behalf of All West and Silver Star
So at
Communications.
least you wore something for Valentine's Day.
Yes. Tried to, pink. I believe Barb Sessions may have been online to speak in support. I don't know if she was able to get in, but we just wanted to express support for the bill.
You bet. Well, we appreciate that. Obviously, we're in support of it.
Yes, thank you.
So anything you can do in the lobby, fire away.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any other public comment? Do we have anyone online? Okay, with that, we will close public comment. We have a motion on the bill. Moved by Representative Walters, second by Representative Henderson. Discussion on the bill. Dave, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. During the introduction process, it was noted that this money was only going to go probably to big cities, you know, like the one that we're in and the one in the center of the state. But it's my belief this pot of money is by federal regulation is required to only go to the unserved and not the underserved. So I just want to make sure that's correct, because if this bill goes back on the floor, I don't want there to be any confusion that this is actually addressing the underserved. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, I think it's really important to understand what the intent of this money is, to capture the federal money to then go and serve whatever population. So we have this IIJA money out there, actually into the tune of about $300 million. To get any of it, the state has to put up some matching funds, just like we do in some other federal agreements. So this money that can come forth can be used, just like some of the ARPA money was, can be used to as the state's match to get those federal funds. Once that's done, the Business Council has been working on the distribution and the allocation and of those funds where they go. And there are a number of requirements under the IIJA on how those are to be deployed, focusing largely on underserved areas. Now, you could certainly within this, you know, yesterday there was a comment on rural Wyoming. Well, Cheyenne compared to the rest of the nation is rural. And it may be our biggest city, but it's not much compared to the rest of the US. But overall, in a large city, you could have an underserved area that needs to broadband. And you could see that not just in the rural hinterlands of Wyoming, but you could see it within Casper or Cheyenne also. And so they've got definitions for this underserved area and how to address getting, and that's where the focus of these grants and this money would go. You're correct.
So, but I think it's a good point that we ought to have whatever the draft rules are, and also some type of either a comment or something from the guys who are putting the rules together, because we may end up seeing an amendment that says this will only go to unserved.
Yeah.
And if that happens, that might interfere with the actual distribution of the funds or our ability to use them. So,
And Mr. Chairman, I understood everything the fine representative said. I just want to make sure that my understanding is correct. It is for only the unserved and in this pool of money. In ARPA money, it could be underserved, but this pool of money specific, I think there's 3 pools of money. So I want a clarification if I could.
We could get
from
Ron
anyone.
to come up. I think he
come on up, Ron.
Thank you.
I don't think it's just, but we'll get.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ron Goldberg, Strategic Partnerships Director for the Wyoming Business Council. I have reached out to Elaine Zippel, the broadband office manager, who's at a broadband conference right now, learning a lot of this stuff to release the funds. Representative Larson's correct. There are varying degrees. I know for the Connect Wyoming program that already rolled out and has to be concluded by the end of 2026. That I believe it was unserved. I'm trying to get clarification from Elena, but going forward with the BEAD program, I think there are unserved and underserved. And what Elena explained to me is there is a formula being created using like Census Bureau tracks and creating zones in Wyoming to incentivize that statewide distribution. And I'll get more details.
Mr. Chairman, could you just send us an email? I think I just would like a for sure definition in case that subject comes up again. Thank you. Okay.
And have it broken down and what the process is and the timing of the process so that we can articulate it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Committee? Roll call on the bill.
Representative Henderson,
Aye.
Representative Larson,
Aye.
Representative Sherwood,
Aye.
Representative Stiff,
Aye.
Representative Walters,
Aye.
Representative Swanitzer,
Aye.
Chairman Nicholas.
Aye. Okay, next up is House Bill 72, Workers' Compensation Provision for Adverse Deviation. I think we got everyone sufficiently confused on what adverse deviation is. So public comment on the bill. Is there a better way to say adverse deviation? I mean, how would you say that in layman's terms?
Unanticipated costs.
Mr. Chairman, Jason Wolf with the Wyoming Department of Workforce Services. So it is a confusing terms. In layman's terms, I would just, as I discussed with Representative Larson, it is simply the excess in the fund that is above our discounted liability. So think of it kind of as our cushion, if you will, for when claims run off adversely, as the actuary would say. That is to say we spend more than we predicted. That's kind of what that PFAD money is used for.
How much is that?
So 1 billion. Currently, it's about $1.2 billion above our discounted liability.
So essentially, what you're asking for is to take your, would you say, your protection fund and invest it more aggressively in order to maximize return. And then actually, and the result of that is your ability to lower employer contributions.
Mr. Chairman, that's partially correct. So to clarify, all of the money in the work comp fund, the $2.6 billion is already invested. It already earns investment income. When we figure the rates, however, we do not consider the investment income on that PFAD, which is $1.2 billion. We only are by statute allowed to consider the income on what we call our loss reserves, or what we anticipate those claims will cost us over a period of time.
When was the last time you had to dip into your PFAB?
Mr. Chairman, that's a bit complicated to answer. I would tell you what we generally will use that PFAD for is to keep stability amongst the rates. So for instance, if the actuary does his analysis and comes back and tells us we should probably raise rates 1 or 2%, we can then say, we don't feel like we're going to have to do that because we have this money here. And I've said this, you've probably heard me say it a lot. One thing employers appreciate is stability. And when you fluctuate those rates, even if it's up or down. We never hear, of course, any negative comments when we decrease it as we did this year, to the tune of 6.5%. But even a 1 or 2% rate change in the employer's rate can, of course, as you guys know, create some angst. Where's that extra money coming from? How do they get that? So, if that answers your question, Mr. Chairman.
Well, you really didn't. When was the last time you had to dip into it?
So I think the year before, the recommended rate increase was 0.5%. And we decided just to leave rates at 0%, meaning flat. We didn't adjust them up or down. And so that extra money that was anticipated would have come from that PFAD.
Okay.
So, Jason, what this bill is really trying to do is separate the corpus of that account that's for funding the liabilities, and separating that from the PFAB. And then make the determination that the revenue generated that's attributable to the PFAB is counted as income. And then be able to use that income to provide relief and stability across the industry on the EMR ratings and the cost that's going to impact employers. Is that fair?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Larson, that's very accurate, yes.
And so then what we have done historically over the past decade is there's been a number of times we provided rate holidays. We've been able to provide those rate holidays because the fund, largely because of this, the way it's set right now, is in excess, even including of the PFAB, of what the liability would be. And so we were able to provide rate holidays without impacting the stability of the liability as well as the PFAB, right?
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. So if it helps, kind of think of this as we're providing an ongoing rate holiday, if you will, because when we provided those rate holidays, that money came from the account we refer to as PFAD.
And so when we talk about dipping into the PFAD, it's not so much that we're based on that you're going into the savings account and saying we need X amount this year because we're underfunded, but just the total impact of the liabilities as it varies during the course of a year, whether it be back surgeries, more back surgeries or less than were projected. You've got that anticipated excess, the PFAD, that covers that.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Wolf, if I understood you correctly, it sounds like you've been able to reduce workers' compensation premiums by 6.5% in the last year. Is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Stitt, that's correct.
That's great news. And Mr. Wolf, if you know, about how much total money is that statewide, if you know, roughly?
Mr. Chairman, you have that. So if we so 6.5%, I guess just for a little bit of context, Mr. Chairman, we collect on average about $201 million in premium annually. So if the figures I have aren't exactly to the 6.5%, but some figures that I provided to the committee, I think in October, were if we were able, using the 2022 premium figures, if we lowered that by 18.5%, it would be roughly about $23 million less premium in a year. So if you half that, maybe, 12, 13 million in premium is what we're looking at for 6.5%.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much.
Okay, go ahead.
But had this bill been in place, if I understand the handout correctly, that could have been 18%.
Mr. Chairman, that's correct. So if we employed this current method that's in the bill, we could have lowered those rates by up to 18.4% instead of 6.5%.
Okay. Any other public comment? We'll close public comment. Any motion on the bill? Moved by Representative Walters, second by Representative Henderson. Further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, roll call.
Representative Henderson,
Aye.
Representative Larson, Representative Sherwood. Representative Stiff,
Aye.
Representative Walters, Representative Swanitzer,
Aye.
Chairman Nicholas.
Okay,
Chairman,
please,
may I have a quick privilege?
please.
I just wanted to say thank you to Jason and Robin for all of the extraordinary work that you have done on behalf of the citizens of Wyoming through your roles, and look forward to working with you, Robin, in your new capacity, and Jason continuing to collaborate with you as well. Thank you.
Very much. When's your last day? March 16th. And when's your first day? When do you go to the judicial college?
They said to wait a couple months.
Yeah.
before it's gonna be up.
October, okay.
I know the questions to ask about.
Okay. Okay, one more bill to go. Next up is 73, abandoned mines, reclamation accounts. Any public comment on the bill? Anything to add that we don't know or that we should know? No. You're here. Might as well chew gum with us.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman, Todd Parford, Director of the Department of Environmental Quality. Don't have anything to add to the bill, other than, we're here to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, any comments on how it was presented or how you would do anything
Let's leave
differently?
that alone, okay?
We could get you up in the above us, and you have it put up like a B minus.
I could feel it from all the way down there yesterday.
Okay. Okay, well, we'll close public comment. Move the bill. Representative Walters, seconded by Representative Henderson. Any further discussion on the bill? Seeing none, roll call.
Representative Henderson,
Aye.
Representative Larson, Representative Sherwood, Representative Stiff,
Aye.
Representative Walters, Representative Swanitzer,
Aye.
Chairman Nicholas.
Aye. Okay, that concludes our, we'll see everyone back here on adjournment.